folks are going to make a pig water out of a blue plastic barrel like this and a metal nipple, as you can see here. So first off though, if you didn't know, you can't just give your pigs a stock tank like this like you would for sheep, goats, or cattle. Pigs like to get in and make wallows in the mud, and that makes their water really dirty. So if you had this, pigs would climb into it, and then the water they drink would get very dirty very quickly, so you don't want to do that. So the way to keep that clean is you take a blue plastic barrel like this, and you cut the top of it off. As you can see, I've already done that. And then you can fill it up with water, and the pigs will just drink like a rabbit does. Here, so you can see this a little bit better. You'll just attach this down low, and then the pigs can drink themselves, but then they'll also be able to not get into the water, so that way it keeps it nice and clean. So with the top cut off, it keeps that water nice and clean. That's the number one thing you need with livestock, is all livestock need clean water. So especially with pigs, that's a struggle you find, because the pigs will like to make a wallow, and that's how they cool themselves off, because pigs can't sweat. So you fight that battle between them needing a wallow and giving them clean water. This has been the best solution that I've found, because they can just open this nipple up, and then they can create a wallow themselves through the water. Sometimes if I'm down there, I'll actually take the water hose and I'll create a wet spot myself. That way if they need the water, they can get into it there. And it also doesn't waste all of the water that they're using to drink. And in case you're wondering, this is a gravity nipple here. So they do make ones that are designed to hook up to a water hose. This one is not, because I need to take my pigs in areas that a water hose can't necessarily reach. So for me, this works much better, but they also do sell the ones that you can hook up to a water hose, and then you have an endless supply of water. With this is a 55-gallon blue drum. They actually sell these at Roll King or Tractor Supply, places like that. So if you need one, don't overspend on these. I believe at those stores they're about 30 bucks. So don't think you have to spend a ton of money on that. You can also find them on Marketplace a lot. I see them on Facebook. A lot of folks are just giving these away too. If you happen to know somebody that maybe works at a plant or something like that, they can help you out. So the reason you need to cut the top off though, is you got to drill a hole in there, and then this one side attaches to the barrel, and then the other side you'll screw in. That way the water can flow through there. We're going to show you all of that, so hang on tight as folks. So the tools that are needed for this is just a simple drill with, I have a 3/4 inch bit on there. Really each one's going to have a different size, so you'll just have to look at the package and decide which one works best for you. It actually says 7/8, but 3/4 was the closest I had, so we're going to make that work. And there's different lines on here, and it will tell you how many gallons of water. So just remember, if you put it up high at 25 gallons, that means you only have a 25-gallon water now. You don't have a 50-gallon water, because there's a static level that you'll have to hold in there before they'll be able to get water. So I think the sweet spot is about 10 gallons, because then they're able to keep it out of the mud a little bit, and taller pigs won't have to bend clear down if you put it at 5 gallons. So that's why I usually go right about 10. So let's get this hole drilled. We're actually going to put 2 of them in, and the reason why, if you've ever had pigs, you completely understand. But pigs like to fight over stuff. If you ever heard of, somebody being a hog, it's true. Pigs, it doesn't seem to matter what it is, they're going to fight over it. And if you only have one in there, they're just going to fight each other for water. So we want to make sure everybody gets plenty. So that's why we're going to put 2 in here, and I've already got one down there that's got 1 in it. So then with 6 pigs, they'll have three water sources, so they should be fine to have enough. So like I said, we're going to go right at about 10 gallons, and we're going to drill our hole in here. Oh, my bit came out for some reason. See if we can get that tightened back down. All right. And like I said earlier, this unscrews. So the back of it has like a little washer on it basically, and then you just screw that back on there. So the other thing you got to remember too, I'm pretty tall, I have long arms, so if you get it too far away from it, you won't, or too far down, I mean, you won't be able to get in there to hook it up. So make sure you have a way to get that in there. Oh, actually I need to round that out a little bit more. about there. All right. Let's see. And we'll just screw that in. And like I said, this is the part where having long arms is needed, because you got to be able to reach down in there to put the nut on the back of it. It does recommend to use some sort of plumber's tape to keep it from leaking. I didn't do that with the last one, and it hasn't really leaked at all. It has a slow drip in it, but you're using this for pigs, and the amount of water that they're gonna waste is much more than what this little thing's gonna leak. So I don't mind doing that. Okay. And for some reason, it never seems like I can get this to tighten and actually be facing up. So then you always have it facing sideways, but the pigs will always find a way to be able to get it to work. So as you can see, I need to rinse this out. I didn't want to do that until I had already cut all the holes in here though, because the first time I cut the top off, then I thought, oh, I'll clean it out. And then you drill a hole in the side and you got to clean it twice. So another pro tip, just wait until you're done. As you can see, pretty simple. And then you'll always be able to look down in there when you go to check your pigs, and you can see whether they've got water or not. As you can see, I'm down here in the pig pen. Got surrounded by the piggies. They're running through here. They're excited. They're getting some extra water now. We're filling this tank up. Once we get it filled up, I'll show you what it looks like. All I had to do was drill that second hole in there and screw the other nipple in there. They've already got mud all over the front of it, but that's pigs for you. While we're letting this fill up, I'll show you the old setup that they have. So like I said, I already have one of these. So the idea was to let these animals have some more water, because as you can see, it's starting to get hot here in Southeast Ohio. It's about 82 today, and these piggies, it's their first hot day of their life, so they're really enjoying this mud right now. Example of why I wanted to put in the additional nipples and water down here. Those two were just fighting over it. Of course, when I start recording, they stop. But as you can see, there's their wallow that they're able to make just by letting the water out of that. And here's another issue I'm going to run into as these pigs get older. I'm going to have to eventually strap this down. But right now, as you can see, we got plenty of water in there, so they're not able to tip it over. But that's what I meant earlier by, you see where that nipple is? Right there. Any of the water below that doesn't get out of there. So every now and then I tip it over just to make sure it's always got fresh water in it, and to make sure that you don't think they can get to all that water all the time, because they won't be able to. Can you, piggies? It's gotten pretty dry here. We had about a week of rain there nonstop, and then the last 2 weeks it's been really windy and really dry. So you can tell where I haven't given them water, it's dried out quite a bit. So they got their little mud hole here to help them stay cool. And also we're getting a lot of leaves on these trees here, so that'll give them some shade and a nice way to stay cool. Let's check on this here. And like I said, it doesn't take too long to fill these things up. And where are we at? Okay, as you can see now, here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The one on the left, they can get water out of. The one on the right now, they won't be able to get water out of. It hasn't filled up enough. I always try to slope these two. It might be hard to tell on camera, but it's tilting a little bit towards the left and the front. That way they get as much water as they possibly can out of that. I also always try to set up these near some brush that I want them to take care of. As you can see, quite a bit of multiple rows here. Isn't there, piggies? That way when they start their wallow, they'll chew up those and root them up, and next thing you know, we'll have a lot more clear space just by letting them do what they naturally do. There's one using the wallow right now. If this is your first time on our channel, we raise pastured pork. We believe in regenerative agriculture, which is where you're able to take some areas like this here that are overgrown with brush and unusable landscapes and turn them into areas that are more fertile, have something growing on them worth some value to either livestock or to wildlife. So that's why we're trying to do this. Put our pigs out here with this electric netting. We let them stay in an area for a while so they can till it up and clean it up. And then after they leave, we plant that with some cover crop. So eventually they'll be able to come back through and have a nice meal there. And also gives them an opportunity to have a life out on pasture instead of in confinement. Even on a small scale where people use pig pens, it's really not the healthiest for these animals. They would rather be doing this right here, rooting around in the dirt, exploring, being a pig. So if you enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel. And as always, I do appreciate everybody taking their time to watch these videos. It's not easy to get in front of the camera and always come up with ideas and edit these, but it does make a difference when I see the comments and people taking the time to watch these videos. So thank you for that.